communities. Let's try and visit it and try by all means to actually enhance the product, so that we also call our own domestic tourism to come and have a look at this iconic figure. The funding, yes, I agree, it was made available by the National Department of Tourism for an amount of about 17 million. 8 million of that it went into your services, into things like your electricity and water. And then 8 million went into the building itself. And then the remainder of it, which is about 1-point-something million, it went into the EPWP. So this project, the laborers or the actual people that constructed this project were people coming from the area. The other thing that I also highlighted in the briefing was also that the contractors that were actually given the opportunity to construct this product that we see here were actually coming from the same province. They are actually from East London as well as from the Port Elizabeth. And all the material that was used here was locally sourced. And for that, Minister, I've also been able to engage our person at the curio shop, and I've got the figures ready for you that you were asking during the briefing. And then another thing.
Doing that. Premier. Premier of the Eastern Cape, Mr. Oscar Mabuyane, is going to give us a message of support and also invite the minister on stage. I won't come back. Thank you very much. Thank you, Premier. Much appreciated.
No, iyenza ulapha qiniseka bayafuna ukwenziwa lento. Must just sanitize them. Thank you very much, Program Director. I hope I'm audible with this mask. It's just that President reminded us that we must always be masked to ensure that we mitigate and minimize the transmission of the COVID-19. Program Director, special greetings to you, to Minister, Comrade Mamulugu, Kubai, Ngubani, Minister of Tourism. Very simple department, doesn't talk all other issues. Tourism, straightforward. MEC for the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism, and as well as Finance in the province, MEC Mvogo. The Mayor of Kogama and all councillors that are here, and representatives of the district as well. The CEO of ECPTA and government officials, the media, good morning to you all. Minister, it is an honor and a privilege for me to join you today at this launch of the iconic Big 3 project. You come into our province just 2 weeks after we have launched our Tourism Month activities under the new brand positioning, Eastern Cape, yours to explore. This new brand positioning squarely places our province in the same zone as other local destinations that have long aligned themselves with the national tourism brand identity. By being here today, you are fulfilling our brand position. Minister, as the Eastern Cape government, tourism is a niche sector we have vowed to support and use as a launch pad for our economic recovery plan. Sadly for us, the sector took a huge knock during the past 6 months of COVID-19 lockdown regulations in our country. Having said that, we want to express our gratitude to national government, particularly your department, for moving swiftly to cushion the sector by setting up the 200 million COVID-19 Tourism Relief Fund. The impact of that relief fund in our province has been phenomenal. If it were up to us, we would have loved to cover every tourism enterprise in our province, but we understand that the whole country had to benefit from the fund. More than 450 local tourism enterprises from our province have benefited from that fund. And an additional 182 Eastern Cape registered tour guides and freelance guides without job security qualified to date for the 30 million tour guide relief fund. That fund has saved the sector from a complete collapse. Yes, the sector is now limping, but it will be back in its strides of creating sustainable jobs again. We are, Minister, overjoyed by the announcement made by the President of lifting the restriction on the international travel, as that will definitely boost economic recovery, particularly through the tourism sector. Coming to the subject matter of today, you will pardon me because I will indulge you a little bit about this area. I'm the chief marketer of the tourism in our province. I said I was an MEC for 8 months, so you can tell that I still have a lot to offer. I was still trying to understand and grapple with the sector itself. This area is a natural wonder that gives all of us in the province goosebumps. Minister, this western or southwestern part of our province is truly unique in terms of its natural heritage. It is a transition area where rainfall changes from being a predominantly winter occurrence in the west to a predominantly summer occurrence in the east. There is also a drought gradient changing from being very wet along the coastal areas to very dry inland, north of the fold mountains ranges. These gradients, together with the geological and topographical diversity of the region, have resulted in a tremendous wealth of biological diversity at all scales. At the broadest scale, the region is an area of convergence of 6 South African biomes, namely the Albany thicket, fine boss, Nama Karoo, succulent Karoo, forest and the grassland biomes. The intermingling of such a distinct plant and animal communities occurs nowhere else in the country but here in the province. 2 global biodiversity hotspots are recognized in this part of the province, the Cape Flora Kingdom hotspot and further east, the Maputo Land, Pondoland, Albany hotspot. At a finer scale, this area is a home to a disproportionately high number of local endemic plants and animal species which occur nowhere else on Earth. In order to protect this unique heritage, several large protected areas functions to conserve not only the fauna and flora, but also the larger scale ecological processes that maintain them. The Garden Route National Park conserves coastal forest and fine boss, the marine environment and the interface between these systems. The Bavianskloof World Heritage Site is part of the UNESCO Cape Floral Region Protected Area World Heritage Site and is globally recognized for its outstanding richness and endemism of plant and animal species. This protected area also safeguards the catchment of the Kouga Dam, which supplies large proportion of the water required by the Nelson Mandela municipality and the agricultural important Gamtus Valley. The Addo Elephant National Park is especially significant in that it conserves Albany thicket in the presence of the mega herbivores such as elephant that shape and maintain this vegetation. Besides the preservation of natural heritage, the purpose of these protected areas is also to benefit people through the provision of recreational, educational, and cultural opportunities, and in so doing also grow the biodiversity economy. Minister, the tourism is our gold space. We do have our hidden gems in this area. We are doing everything to ensure that we unearth and we get all the support that we need for everyone to come this side. As Island Minister, with those few words, I wish to really welcome you to this part of the country. I know you are servicing about 58 million people. We are servicing about 6.8 million, but that's a market that we have. We are focusing on that market because of our short left program. So we really appreciate your presence here and definitely the profiling of this area. I just want your team to understand that when they talk about Tsitsigama, they must not confuse the public and think that Tsitsigama is Western Cape. Tsitsigama is Eastern Cape, and you must have that hashtag Eastern Cape Tsitsigama. Thank you very much. Oh, Minister, let me usher you to the stage. Thank you very much.
Upward delegation. Thank you very much, Premier Oscar Mabuyani, MEC Mvoko, Mayor Mavuso, councillors who are here, CEO of ECPTA, leadership of SANParks, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. I think now we are becoming a team. We've been together in Gauteng and Free State, now we are in the Eastern Cape. Let me say, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, that this becomes our second leg of domestic tourism as we market South Africa to South Africans. I say this because I always said that, Comrade Premier, that when I came to the portfolio, I thought I knew South Africa. Until I realized that I have no clue what South Africa is. So our responsibility now is to reintroduce South Africans to South Africa. And that's why we are crisscrossing the country. And I hear you are saying a chief marketer. I think I'll have to find a new word because I've been calling myself a chief salesperson of the country. And when President spoke on Wednesday, I really felt that my title was gone, so I need to be creative enough to go and find a new title, because I seem to see that there are quite a number of chief salesperson and marketers. So before I get out of a job, I need to be creative enough, because if everybody is a marketer, then my job is finished. So I must still regard myself relevant, Comrade Premier. But I think one of the things that we took a decision, I committed as the Minister of Tourism, when we started the lockdown and the sector was hard hit, and we said, as we're going to start coming back, I will lead from the front in providing assurance to South Africans that it is safe for them to leave their homes and visit. And that when we put protocols, we'll do in such a manner that it assures them that our sector will not be a distributor of the pandemic. And that's why, as the minister, I go across the country. One, firstly, to make sure that what we have given as directions are enforced. So I always observe when I arrive at a place whether they are being sanitizing, masks are being worn. As we talk, the mics are being, we're following the protocols that we have put and the directions. So I'm happy to see that SANParks have put those in place. The other issue is to be able to say to South Africans, all these months, we've been sitting in front of screens, having Zoom, Microsoft Teams meetings. We are tired of them. The walls are just becoming too much. We need air outside to go out and have fun. And we are saying you don't need to go outside South Africa because we've got everything that you need in this country. Now, we are in the tourism month under the theme rural development and tourism. So we're talking about rural development because most of the people think that when we talk tourism, you've got to go to three places. The challenge of South Africa most of the time is that we've not really fully marketed the diversity of our products, the diversity of our tourism, to the extent that everybody can know that in each province actually, we have full tourism packages that you can enjoy. Fortunately, I came Garden Route December with my family, so I did not disclose to anyone. I just came with my family. We were on holiday. And I enjoyed this part. And to be honest, most of my family members were like, wow, this is, my kids were saying, we must come back here, Mom, because we enjoyed it. And this is what we want to say to South Africans. South Africa is a beautiful country. Don't ever believe anyone who tells you otherwise. There is so much that you can do that even a full year will not be enough for you to cover everything in this country. Now, promotion of domestic tourism as one of our key pillars, as we are doing now, is to be able to showcase that yes, we have diversity to cater. Either it's a family, either it's young people who love adventures, whether it's old citizens, senior citizens, whether it's gay couples, because sometimes people don't even think that we are a country that is gay friendly. So the pink routes as well, Comrade MEC, are important. We call them pink routes. They're important because we've got to be able to say whether, Eastern Cape is one of the provinces that is fortunate compared to us in Gauteng, for example. You've got nature, you've got adventure, you've got coastal. So whether a person comes to the Eastern Cape for adventure will be able to do something. A person who loves nature will be able to do something. Whether it's a couple for a romantic holiday, they will be able to do something. Whether it's sporting activities, they will be able to do something. One of the major things, Comrade Premier, that I commit to is to be able to live to what you have said, the home of legends. In terms of sports tourism, we have to bring it back. Your coastal, in terms of what is God, for example, there's nothing stopping us to reclaiming back the safe international competitions to come back to South Africa. We need to, me and you must work together closely to go and revive the race track for motor racing, because we can compete globally. I mean, that sporting facility that existed there in the Eastern Cape for motor racing while we're watching the sea, it's what people are looking for. So we'll partner. I will be your greatest supporter in promoting the province in tourism, but also investment in this. Not only that, I've had my team tell me that there's quite a lot of interest, for example, in terms of investors for the province in tourism. So we'll make time, we'll bring the team, we'll bring those investors to the Eastern Cape. Because you've got Port St. John as well, there's quite a lot of interest that area. So we're not only in this part to promote only this part, but we're talking about the entire Eastern Cape. And I was comforted because, when you have a premier like this, MEC, I think you are very fortunate because the premier really is making even your life easier. And I do like what you are saying as the Eastern Cape, that Eastern Cape is yours to explore. A rebranding, a repositioning that fits to the domestic market, but also fits to international market. So as we work together to promote both Destination Eastern Cape and Destination South Africa, it's better when we hunt together. We'll have to collaborate better, work together to be able to draw. Eastern Cape provides for me as the minister an alternative for many tourists who've been repeated South Africa, who've been to Gauteng, who've been to Kruger, who've been to Western Cape, and they're looking for an alternative. So you are helping me. It's a destination that helps me to provide an alternative. But also, you are helping me. It becomes a destination that helps in my work. Because if somebody says, I don't want to go to where other people have been, Eastern Cape becomes that destination for me to be able to market. Now, you'd note that the president announced that we will be moving to level 1 on Sunday. Minister of Culture has issued the regulations, and I think it's important for me to just touch on them. while I'm here, because I don't think I'm going to do a media briefing for the regulations this time, for the directions, because my directions now, it's just one sentence around the MICE sector. The rest of the things remain in place because the airports is Minister Mbalula. But what it means for us is that international borders are opened. If you look at our tourism recovery strategy, we've set our strategy, the pillars. The first leg will be domestic tourism. The second leg will be regional, meaning the continent, and opening globally. And this was based on the risk as adjusted strategy, and as we were assessing the risk in terms of the pandemic and how we are doing in the country. We were fortunate. It's a bonus I got for Tourism Month as the Minister of Tourism Month. When I expected that NCCC and Cabinet will open the region, they gave me a bonus and opened the countries that are low risk outside the continent as well. That's why I'm saying I got a bonus for Tourism Month. So what it means is that the borders will be opened from the 1st of October for the entire continent. But also, the borders will be opened for countries that are declared low risk. The assessment will be led by Minister of Health, and this will be based on WHO categorization of which countries are high risk in terms of the number of infection per particular number of citizens. So that's how you gauge it. But the list will be out. But not only that, we were assured that every 2 weeks there will be an assessment. So the list that will come out next week, after 2 weeks there will be assessment. If other countries are improving like us, then they will be added into. This, what it means, it saves our festive season. This is our peak time. This assists us for those who want to come to South Africa for Christmas. They have time to book. It's a much needed reprieve for us. And that's why from National Tourism we are saying we are now on the road to recovery as tourism sector. What also it means, those who maybe did not hear, for international travelers, there are 3 airports of arrival and departures. It's OR Tambo, it's King Shaka, it's Cape Town. Again, in terms of the international travelers, what they will need, we were fortunate as well because we were crossing our fingers because we know that if there's quarantine requirements for people arriving, those travelers are not going to come. So we were fortunate and we are grateful that NCCC, together with Cabinet, took a decision that when travelers present, prove that they have tested before getting into the flight and that within 72 hours, and they can prove that they've been tested negative, they will not be required to quarantine. So they'll come and enjoy our country. And that's a needed reprieve even for us. Because if you look at other countries, they're talking about quarantine for 5 days, for 3 days, and we think if that was the requirement, it was going to deter people from coming to the country. So we are happy with that. All they need to do is provide that evidence, but also they just need to download our app and show that we can be able to trace them, we can be able to communicate and say this is where they are, in terms of whether they've been exposed and all that. It's only those who present the symptoms when arriving, because indeed South Africans want to be assured, Comrade Premier, that when tourists come here will not infect them. So we are saying to South Africans, while you're opening the borders, we are not risking your lives. When people show symptoms that they are positive or symptoms, then they will be required to quarantine. If somebody then lands without the proof of them having taken a test, they will be required to quarantine, because it has always been with us in government, balancing lives and livelihood. So we'll not, as we open the borders to kickstart tourism and our economic recovery, risk your lives. We'll continue to do the balancing. Another area which is the reprieve, and Comrade Premier and MEC is good here because he's MEC of Finance. So MEC of Finance, we are requesting you to redirect the finances of conferencing to the departments. Premier, I am going to request you to help me as we convince national government to redirect back the funds of conferencing in government. The MICE sector is now opened. The directions are saying for indoors is 250 maximum. So if your floor space, I know some people ask me, if your floor space can take 100 people, you don't put 100 people because we want social distancing. It means you're going to put 50 people because it must be 50%. But if your floor space can take 1,000 people, you don't go and put 500 people indoors, you put 250. I hope it's making sense. Outdoor, with social distancing, it's 500 maximum. With effect of next week, not yet this week. With effect of next week, the 1st, 21st of Sunday evening. So what we are requesting from the people who normally host conferences, we are appealing to you to host the conferences back in support of the tourism sector, saving jobs and reviving businesses. We need the conferences to start because the people who are doing catering for those conferences are out of jobs. They are battling. The people who decorations are battling. Those who have put their weddings on hold, please resume your wedding plans. Do get married. Because the wedding planners have not had any income for the past few months. So we'll appreciate you getting married and celebrating your anniversaries. Because we do want, as part of rebuilding our economy, every person who had a role in the economy to be back into functioning, being able to put food on the table for their families. This is my appeal to you as South Africans, that spare a thought for those who've not had anything since March. And please support us. We desperately need to save the businesses. We desperately need to save the jobs. And because this sector is a sector that is dominated by women, that's why even my appeal is very special to you South Africans. These women are mothers who are looking after children and sending children to school. They have not had an income. They are looking that you support them. Leave your homes, go to B&Bs. They have not had guests in the past few months. As you explore South Africa, you go to our attractions. Take a short left and stay in our beautiful guest houses, beautiful lodges, beautiful hotels. You are not only enjoying yourself, but you are supporting many of South Africans that have been without an income. Our recovery strategy speaks to domestic recovery that we are currently promoting as part of our tourism month. Regional, which is the continent, we are looking at them to coming into our country. So when they arrive, please, don't call them names. When the visitors from the continent come, please don't attack them. They contribute to our economy. They contribute to the businesses. They contribute to the jobs. Look after them. They are here as part of our guests. As typical South Africans, we need to do what we are known of, being hospitable and looking after the people very well. The other issue as we open our borders Can we not attack our tourists? Can we not rob them? The issue that we had to deal with previously of crime against tourism, tourists who are being robbed, tourists who are being hijacked, can we think about the difficulties we've gone through the past few months? These are our precious people that contribute to our livelihood. Let's look after them. Today here, we are dealing with an issue in terms of our recovery, which is ensuring that our infrastructure and our destinations are ready, are in such a manner that will attract international and both domestic people. So when we spend money as Department of Tourism in what we call, we've got a portfolio that is called capital projects in terms of our EPWP programs. We're spending money in infrastructure to revive the phases, what we call facelift of projects that exist. We go and build new infrastructure in communities as part of driving economic development, creating jobs, but also making sure that our attractions are of international standard that people can be proud to come to. So I'm not going to go into detail about this infrastructure because Thabo has dealt with that. But we are here, the big tree is 1,000 years old. Yes. That's why it's important to preserve it. And that's why we invested as the department in this infrastructure. Because we want people to come, when they come, they must have somewhere to sit and eat, have ablution facilities, and it must be of international standard. So that when people come, there is value. But as part of job creation, for people to be able to gain and work here. Because if you did not have the restaurant, no one will be working here. So there are people here, and I'm happy that as part of the program, we do local development. I would not do justice if I sit down, Comrade Premier, Comrade MEC, without reflecting on the issue that South Africans every day talk to me about on my social media, the issue of pricing. South Africans are saying, yes, Minister, we hear you. You are urging us to go out and enjoy this country. But some of the facilities are unaffordable for us. As a person who does not host, who is not a product owner, I'm appealing to the tourism sector. Can we put our heads together and find a solution so that South Africans can enjoy this country? Somebody this morning wrote to me and said, Minister, I grew up next to Malamala. I don't know how many of us know it. Wrote on my social media to say, Minister, I grew up next to Malamala the rest of my life. I never went to see that place. I had to go and work in Johannesburg and come back after I've worked to come and see this place that I grew up next to. Now, my appeal to our attractions, to our tourism sector, can we remember the local communities as part of our marketing strategy? If they experience the attractions, they will be our mouthpiece in advertising. Word of mouth advertising is very strong. But also, can we start thinking about how are we going to make sure that South Africans can support us, can afford to come to our attraction? So I will be talking price until we find a solution jointly. So I want to call to the tourism sector, can you join hands with me as the minister? Let us find solution to ensure that South Africans can enjoy this beautiful country. When we call them to come and enjoy, so that they can be able to enjoy their beautiful country. We are saying, as the tourism sector, we are on the road to recovery. We are appealing as we do that. We continue to do that wearing our masks, sanitizing and washing our hands, and constantly observing social distance because COVID-19 is not yet over. Moving to level 1 doesn't mean that the risk is gone. It's still there. It is the balancing act that President has spoken about. saving life and saving livelihoods. I hope you'll join hands with us as government and that we'll save this country. We'll not see the resurgence of the pandemic where we see the numbers growing because we've been reckless. For us as the tourism sector, we are appealing to you that please don't be reckless because you are affecting our lives, you are affecting our livelihoods. We depend on you being responsible for tourism to rise again. We remain tourism strong and we are on the road to recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister of Tourism, Me Mamuluku Kubai Ngubani, for those wonderful words. And I'm going to ask you once again to give Minister a round of applause, especially you gentlemen, because Minister has encouraged you to get married. Can we give a Minister a round of applause? Thank you very much, Minister. Now, what we're going to be doing now, colleagues, we are going to do the official handover of this Big Tree project. So what I'm going to request us to do, we allow the camera people to quickly set up over there, just outside the gate here, to quickly set up. And then the Minister, the MEC, the Premier, the Mayor, will then go over there to open, to unveil the plaque and also cut the ribbon. So if you may allow the journalists with cameras to first set up, and then we will move into that particular area. We are in a celebration mode. Therefore, I'm expecting you to please give the Minister a round of applause as she opens the plaque. And do ululate, because that's what we do as South Africans when we are happy. We ululate. When the Minister was talking, when the Premier was talking, I wanted to come back here and sing Shosholoza. But let me not irritate your ears, because I'm not a good singer. But I was really, really encouraged by the message given by the Premier and the Minister. So if we can give way for the journalists just to set up quickly, and then allow our dignitaries to move. Yeah. I'm gonna take it. Will it? I'm going to request the Minister, the MEC, the Premier, the Mayor to please come through the site. Yes, the Premier will stand this side. Okay. Yes. And please assist me to count from 5 to 1. Towards you, Minister. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So if you may assist me to count from 5 to 1, then the minister will open the plug. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let's. The plug. The plaque is written, the Tsitsikamma Big Tree Gateway was officially unveiled by the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Mamoloku Ngubane, on 18 September 2020. This initiative was funded by the Department of Tourism. Thank you very much, Minister. We are now going to request the Premier and the Minister just to stand over there and officially cut the ribbon. Can I please request that the colleagues that are standing just in front of the ribbon just to move? Just to move. If you can move to the sideways. The Premier will be on this side and the Minister this side. Oh yes. All right. All right. I'm agreeing, Premier. So on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now what's going to happen from here, we are going to allow our dignitaries just to do a short visit to these two facilities, the restaurant on the left and the kiosk on the right-hand side. From there, we will move to the Big Tree, where we'll also allow the Minister to take the questions together with the Premier, the MEC, and the Mayor. So we'll just walk through these two facilities, then walk to the Big Tree, if we may do that in that particular way. Thank you very much. Please let's remember to keep social distancing all the time. And allow mainly camera people the center stage. And please do remember to sign the register and never refuse to be screened. It's part of the protocols. We need to observe all these protocols.